Hello everyone, Republic Jim here. It's a beautiful day today. I'm just out working on getting some firewood on our property. Taking a break from that at the moment. And wanted to talk a little bit about one of my favorite tools for using out in the woods. Not when I'm actually getting firewood for the house, but when I'm camping or when I'm out on a SAR mission, or hiking, whatever. I always like to have one of these items with me. And that tool would be a folding saw. And I have a couple of variations with me to discuss. But basically, for gathering firewood for a fire when camping, or any sort of emergency fire, or for clearing trails, it's just so much easier. And the weight compared to an axe or something just makes it really useful to have. First off, this one is not a Silky saw or any other real name brand. It's a Fisker's, which is still a good quality tool. But this is a 10-inch folding saw. It has the button here to release and locks in place firmly. It's pretty compact. Like I said, it's lightweight, so compared to the weight of a hatchet, it's much better. It's very good for cutting smaller branches and can actually do a pretty good size. With this 10-inch blade, at one point I actually cut down a dead standing tree that was around 12 to 13-inch diameter at the point where I cut it. Just have to work your way around and keep cutting in from different angles and get in there. It can kind of do a plunge cut. And yeah, I have actually had to use this on a SAR rescue mission where we were trying to get a litter down a trail, and there was a big fallen tree in the way. And at that point, everybody who was hauling the litter, like out of 8 people there or so, I was the only one that was carrying one of these. I was able to quickly clear away all the limbs and get it to where we could slide the litter across over the big log. So really came in handy for that. And it also has this other setting which could come in handy if you're cutting in weird positions, but I typically never use it like that. It's just nice to have the blade in line like that. Cuts on the pull, and just have to do a nice smooth motion and let the blade do the work. It's still just razor sharp. I actually got another one of these that I carry in a different setup. This one goes in a holster on my drop leg platform that I carry out in the woods. The other one, I have it set up for either my lightweight pack, or I can stick it on my chest rig, depending on what configuration I'm going with. But also comes in very handy, like if you're stuck out in the woods for some reason, it's getting dark and you need to think about making camp, you can quickly process firewood like this. Between this and a decent knife for processing wood, you can get a fire going really quickly. And as a bonus, it has a nice sharp spine on it, which strikes a ferro rod really well. So multiple uses there. But this is the one I primarily carry, this or the other matching one. These I got for just over 20 bucks. Work great, heck of a deal for that price. And I barely even notice that I'm carrying them, just because of how small they fold up and how light they are. Now, since I originally got those ones, I have determined that there are situations, especially in the winter, where it'd be nice to have a larger one. And I was on one SAR mission where we ended up staying out overnight Fortunately, the people we were rescuing were able to actually hike once we got to them, and we were able to go another half mile and get to a cabin, and we spent the night in the cabin. But before we knew for sure that they were going to be able to move, we were looking at the very real possibility of having to make shelter and spend the night there out in the woods. And that night it got down to about 15 degrees and the wind was blowing snow sideways, and it was just miserable conditions. And I know on our team I'm sort of the so-called survival expert. It would have primarily come down to me to get the fire going and take care of that end of things. And I realized at the time that this little guy, I could do it, but when you need to get a big fire going in the snow and do it in a hurry, it's nice if you can cut larger things without too much effort. And so after that, I made the decision to invest, and it was not inexpensive, but got the Silky Katana Boy 500. And, you know, short of carrying around a gas-powered chainsaw, when you want to cut wood, this thing will get it done. You have to be extremely careful with this because it is just absolutely, I can't even, got to remember how to do this. Okay, there we go. It's got safeties built in. It goes to a certain point and stops, and then have to hit that again. But this thing's a monster. It's got this razor sharp, I think it's 19-inch blade, basically 500 millimeters. I think that works out to 19 point something. But again, this thing cuts on the pull, but it's got these handholds where you can choke up or, you know, or go down to the end, however is comfortable, and you can get a full draw cut with that. And you just have to make sure to keep limbs well clear because this thing will bite. It's, as I said, extremely sharp. It'll cut through logs like a rabid beaver. And again, it stops right there, so if you have your hand here, you're not going to slice your fingers. Then you have to release that and carefully put it in there and then tighten this thing down again. But yeah, this thing a little bit heavier than the other one, a little bit bulkier, but it'll still fit nicely in one of the long side pockets on many packs, or just put it in the short pocket like I do on my SAR pack. I have a short pocket here that I put it in, and then run one of the upper compression straps around it to hold it in place. So in the winter, I've gotten in the habit of carrying this thing with me on my pack anytime we go out on a mission or anytime I'm camping out on the property or whatever. It just makes it so much nicer. I can easily cut 1-foot diameter logs and process firewood very quickly and get a big old bonfire going, or a Siberian log fire or whatever. And then it also comes in really handy just for carrying in the vehicle at times, like going over the pass when it's windy or something, just in case any trees blow down across the highway. You know, granted a chainsaw would do it a little quicker and with less effort, but you know, I don't feel like carrying around a saw and gas and everything and stinking up my vehicles. And you know, this is a much friendlier version for carrying in a vehicle and easy to pack away, unlike a bulky chainsaw and gas and everything. So yeah, it makes a awesome saw to carry around for uses like that. So that's my take on a really useful tool for the woods. I don't tend to ever carry a axe or a hatchet. As long as I have a saw and a knife, I can accomplish what I need to. I know others have different opinions, and that's fine, but for my purposes, these things are ideal. So anyway, I hope that was interesting or educational. It's been Republic Jim. I'll talk to you later.